Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. You are watching Aaron Limitless Gaming. If this is your first time, welcome. And if you like what you see here and you know, you like these kind of games and whatnot, feel free to subscribe. I would appreciate it, and give me a thumbs up if you like the video. And I guess let's get started. So for any of you that don't know, I do have a main channel that will be focused on daily life, travel, interior design, kind of just a mix match catch all of all my different interests. This is going to be my gaming channel that's essentially just dedicated to that specifically. So yeah, this will actually be my first official edited video. I did do one of me trying Roller Coaster Tycoon on my recording software, so I just kind of wanted to get a feel of it, but this is my first official project, so I hope you like it. This is specifically the Sims 4 that I am playing, and this is going to be a modern mansion in the Brighton Bay expansion pack, world, whatever you want to call them. I'm not sure if this is in the standard part of the game. I think this is an add-on. I can't remember the packs. Please just bear in mind with trying to film this. Mainly the issue is I just came back to The Sims 4 this month, and I originally bought the game, but I literally haven't touched it, and I've maybe put in 40 hours into this game so far, 20 of them being for this project, so I'm still getting used to how everything works. It's a lot different than even The Sims 3 when I did about 1,000 hours of that game, and barely anything of The Sims 2. In The Sims 1, I did most of my filming, or not even filming, but when I was a kid, I used to play that. I probably have a good like 5,000 or 6,000 hours into that game, but obviously a lot has changed since then, so bear with me, especially with me just starting to edit and do these kind of videos and whatnot, so I'm hoping as time progresses that they will get better. But essentially my idea for this one was I wanted to make a really high-end resort style, very, very modern, clean mansion. So pretty much as you can see with the beginning of the game, when I started, was pretty much I just built essentially the outside of the, this video is going to focus specifically on the outside and building the actual structure in the outside of the house. I believe I did put the pool and all that kind of stuff, but essentially from what you can see right now is I am kind of decided what to put in as far as the steps and everything. In one of the other Sims games that I played, the thing that was frustrating me was the steps were kind of like automatic, and it also put like the railing in if I'm not mistaken. But that was kind of a frustrating thing for me with this game, along with not so much the stairs but the foundation, because I'm so used to having a choice of a foundation or not a foundation. But the problem with this was when I would try to put in a porch or a balcony or anything, the old games that kind of just let you do it in The Sims 3, versus this one you actually have to have like a foundation on, or you have to raise the land. So as you can see right now, that's me trying to do that and just figuring that out. And of course with all these controls and even the camera controls being different, even though I did turn on the Sims 3 controls, it's not all the same. It was just a lot of trying to, have a learning curve. But I felt like that made the game play a little bit more authentic. And it wasn't just like, a pro that has done tons of builds. So you're kind of seeing what I guess, legitimately a lot of people would be doing, maybe not the first time playing The Sims, but maybe the first time playing The Sims 4, or somebody that hasn't really ever, done a big build in a while. But so yeah, so right now I'm just like kind of assessing, do I want to have like extra balconies put over to the sides and whatnot. And then as you can see, the other thing that kind of threw me was how it shows that shadow. I always thought it was trying to put like a railing system and support post around it, but I just realized that was the building tools. So then I was like, okay, I want to kind of change it. But at this point then I decided it would just be a lot cleaner to kind of have it all be one long continuous balcony on the back, and then just have each section sectioned off and designed and decorated the way I wanted it to be. So that is pretty much what I'm doing at this point. Then I'm just kind of closing in the things here and there, because for some reason I just bought a new computer, and the one thing I will say I don't like about a curved screen is, at least with built-in, everything, it is more immersive, but at the same time everything in the center of the screen kind of has this weird warp effect in it. It's not a huge deal. It's just, of course, everything that you use for your build screen is at the bottom of the screen, so all that is kind of warped inwards. But yeah, so that's pretty much me just kind of figuring out how to add all this stuff, and then trying to, remember that you have to turn off the auto railings and all that kind of stuff. Then I think at this point I was thinking if I wanted to have a kind of like an enclosed kind of porch, but then I realized it's supposed to be like in a nicer area, so I would just do a covered porch. I don't really need to be like screened in or anything, and that would kind of take away from the aesthetic of that whole kind of very open, minimalistic, modern kind of resort kind of feel that I was going for. So I do use a lot of custom content for people that might be questioning some of these, like, colors and stuff and different items that I'll use. I was going to add a lot more in, but I figured I already had so much. I kind of wanted to just get used to building and editing with that. And eventually, as the game goes on, I will progress and try to add more stuff in. If you guys like that kind of custom content stuff, there was a lot of stuff I kind of wish I would have found and added into the game, but at that point I was kind of like, I'm already halfway through it. I could go back and download and add it in, but I figured I got 90% of everything I wanted. It was more just like kind of clutter items and random miscellaneous things that I thought, oh, this would look really cool here. But I did download a really good amount, so it didn't come out too bad. Now you can see here that I'm trying to raise the walls and everything again, trying to figure out how to change, I think, to add the window and door sizes, because I keep forgetting that some of this is a lot more realistic and it doesn't let you do like the limits, even though I'm not so much worried about the actual I guess usability of the place, because I probably won't really play this home a lot, but just for building's sake I just wanted it to be as easy as possible. And even then there was some stuff I just had to raise the sizes to be able to fit like certain doors, certain windows, that kind of thing. But I was able to make that done. So now I think I'm debating if I want 2 or 3 doors. I felt like 3 just aesthetically looked better, even though it might look a little too much, but I like the way it looked. It looked very grand, and for this house it's supposed to be kind of over the top, like not really something that a normal person would ever have. It would definitely be, some billionaire or, some kind of over the top kind of property that somebody would buy in real life. This would probably be like a $20-30 million property easily. Depending on the area, it could be double that. Trying to decide if I wanted these windows, if I wanted more open ones. I think I decided on these. I know I did them somewhere else, but I ended up doing different windows throughout the house because I wanted it not to look too boxy and plain, and I wanted it to kind of be unique, so I kind of just played with it. One thing you will see eventually is some of the custom windows I downloaded, they will actually work, but when I place them for some reason, they're like partially broken, so they don't actually stay on there. Like when you click it and set it there, it disappears. So for some reason, I had that issue with some items, not most of them, but some. So with the windows, I was able to actually fix with some of them if I don't need the wall, but because it's an exterior, I actually obviously need the wall. So I went with different windows, which these, honestly worked fine. And I can always find other ones that work, but that's the problem with custom content, is I was so worried about making sure I downloaded stuff that didn't have spam or, any kind of viruses, especially, to ruin the game. So I didn't really, test everything thoroughly to make sure it all worked. I just wanted to make sure that it didn't have any viruses or anything like that. So with custom content, you have to kind of be aware of that. But I would always recommend, if you are going to use custom content, to go from trusted sites. I use ones from like the Sims Supply and a handful of other ones. I have to think of the names, but there's like a million different ones out there you can use. Pretty much anybody can make custom content, but I would recommend going with ones that, are on kind of a shared Sims, space where it's all kind of more legitimate versus just going on Google and finding them. I mean, of course, you can probably find most of it will be legit, but it's a lot harder to obviously try and check for viruses and all that kind of stuff. So at this point, as you can see, I'm starting to add my lights. I was getting frustrated because I had like a vision in my head of what kind of lights I wanted, which were kind of like these ones that I'm putting now, but they were a little bit smaller in scale. But then at night I realized that this actually works perfect because the house is so big. It doesn't make them overly bright, which was my issue. I didn't want the whole house to look like a giant spotlight. So now here's the window panes, which will be the room, I believe that was for the kitchen, which I ended up having to put bushes in front of to cover up that first pane or row of windows because the island and the kitchen counters would go up against that wall and you could see them. But I do that later on in the thing. I'm going through here, trying to figure out what I want to do for my outdoor spaces. At this point, I'm kind of just throwing down couches to see which ones I like, because some of them look different in game versus in the little, thumbnail. But yeah, I really like these styles, but I don't think I ended up staying with them because they just didn't look right being matched. So I think I ended up with something that looked a little bit more like it belonged outside. I'm trying to find the single chairs for it. Then I was debating how I wanted to build that. I'm trying to remember all the keys that you can use to force things to stay off the grid, because obviously the game will try to keep you on grid to keep things sorted, but I think it's Control C if you hold it, or just a control button, you can manually override it and it'll let you place items anywhere. And then the BB dot move objects on cheat code will enable you to be able to force objects to interact, which normally wouldn't allow you to have certain objects together. So let's say you want to make a really big table or something like that, you can make it bigger because you can stack them kind of on top of each other, which otherwise you wouldn't be able to do in the game, like I'm doing right now. Which is kind of a pain to get to line up just perfectly, but if you want to get like a custom piece that there isn't something big enough, that's definitely a way to do it. I do it all the time with desks and especially dining room tables, because all the ones in-game and even ones that people make that I found are all for like only 6 people, and I like to have like a 12-person table, if not at least 8 or 10. So that's kind of a nice little trick that you can learn to do with that. And you can see I'm trying to line up the stupid counters with the chairs. And I think I'm starting to kind of find the bushes. I end up changing this in the game later on, so it'll be different from if you watch the next videos to this one. But with these anyways, they will pretty much look the same. I believe I love these plants so much. They're so very restoration hardware, very modern, very clean, and they're such a big, size. You don't have to like shrink them up or anything like that. So, but yeah, this will wrap up the gameplay for this one. As you can see, I'm saving. The other videos will be longer. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe, and thank you for watching Aaron Limitless. Have a good one.